Yep, just like that, Alexander Audi has gone to its new home. It was always going to happen once the Volvo arrived, hadn't it? Wilma, get in the car. Come on. She can get into this a bit easier. Come on. Come on. Well, do hurry up. How much am I going to have to speed this up by? Get in the car. How much you pay for something, how much you sell it for. It's all a bit too personal sometimes to go into. But on this occasion, I don't really mind telling you. Because, for one thing, I haven't sold it. I've swapped it. I've swapped it for something that may just surprise you. And it may even, for many of you, trigger a, why have you done that kind of thought? Well, I'll show you and explain. Let's do some close-ups. Yes, it's a Rover R8 Tourer. And many people who watch my videos will recognise this car. But many won't, because it's 10 months ago since I owned this particular car. It's gone by very, very quickly. And now I think we're approaching that part of the video where I stride across the yard telling you something with some daft music in the background. Ready? This car is known as Mrs. Doyle. That's the name I gave to it. I took it as a trade against my 420 GSI that somebody really, really wanted. And I really like this. But as usual, somebody else wanted it, and that somebody else was a chap called Aaron, who brought down a previous old car of mine called Alfie, and we did a straight swap. And Alfie ended up leaving the next day. But I ended up with something else. And now we're going a bit too far off the point, so let's backtrack a little bit. Aaron from Scotland is a chap I've done quite a few deals with so far. We just keep on becoming embroiled in each other's business. What Aaron likes to do is to take a car that's reasonably good, do a whole load of fixing and things, spend a whole load of money on it, and say that he's never going to sell it. And then at some point he gets bored with having a car that he doesn't need to do any work on. What happens quite a lot is I get first refusal with cars. So the other day he messaged me and said, I'm thinking of moving on the tour. I'll try and do it in a Scottish accent. No, that's not bother. He just phoned me up, we had a chat on the phone and said he's going to move it on and would I be interested in it? And I said, yeah, but would you swap it? In his own words, this car is too nice for what he's using it for, which is taking it to work, parking it in a car park, some of the mileage is doing, etc. Too worried about it getting dinged, knocked, carelessly brushed against by somebody with no consideration or care for anything other than themselves. So, something a bit more modern, something you can just get in and drive and use, and preferably with better fuel economy. You know, and it just so happens that I had a car that fit the bill, which is Alexander Audi. It's big, it's diesel, it's good on fuel, it likes to spend hours and hours on the motorway, and it wouldn't really worry you too much parking it next to something else. Now, I was just about to start thinking about how I could put Alexander Audi up for sale, because I knew I wanted to keep the Volvo as the family car. And I'm always going to say yes to another R8 Tourer in my life. So what's the plan with this? The plan is for me to tell you what improvements have been made on it, and then to promise you that I'll never sell it. The problem with the Audi and selling the Audi was that I just don't really know what the value of it is. There's so few of them for sale. And that one has a couple of issues that I never really got around to talking about. I mean, Aaron knows all about it. Johnny knows all about it. Steve knows all about it. Steve Perry, that is. Alexander Audi, the most anonymous rare car you can get. Anyway, just here I have a little book full of paperwork from Mrs. Doyle with a list of whole things in here, loads of receipts that I won't show you because it's got his address on them. 10 months ago, Mrs. Doyle had 11 months MOT and was a very, very nice car. Now it has 10 months MOT and is an even nicer car, and here's why. The interior has all been cleaned. Not that it was grotty in the first place. Unfortunately, we do have a saggy head lining, but it's lovely to be back in an R8, even though it was only a couple of weeks since I was last in an R8, but it was a couple of months since I last drove an R8 on the roads. But I'm going to do this one today. The car is very clean, but let's start with the practical under the bonnet stuff. The single cam Honda D series engine with 109 brake horsepower, that's been painted up, that's been replaced, new coolant, new oil, and a new, that side, timing belt, and new oil cooler pipes as well for the gearbox, and new gearbox oil. Originally this car had a tailgate with a rather unsightly rusty hole just about there, which I covered up with gaffer tape, but if I keep doing that there, I could rub the paint right down to the bare metal and we can replicate that hole again. It does need a bit of adjustment to make it fit a bit more flush and a bit of lacquer on the top of there. But otherwise, that's a good job. Let's have a look at something that's not quite as good a job as you'd like. Well, actually the tailpipe. It's kind of a bit wrong. And apparently I pointed that out every time I've seen Aaron since. Don't remember doing. But now we're going to look at a couple of things that are really good and has saved me an awful lot of effort. And that is these wheels. When I had it, it had the original steel wheels. Now we have original R8 wheels that have been refurbished. That one needs a bit of a wash now, but they've all been refurbished and with brand new nuts as well, which is nice, and a set of brand new matching tyres. That gives you a nice warm fuzzy glowing feeling. New tyres. I love new tyres. I should have them more often. But also underneath, new drop links and something else. It's got a new caliper on the front. But another job that's a bit awkward on these are the trailing arm bushes, and he's replaced both of them. That's great. I think it cost about £180 to get them done in the garage. And above all, it's a Rover. Do you remember that advert with a tune it went to do 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 do? And it was an R8 like that when they first came out as an estate. And this lady or fella, I can't remember, first thing they did with it was crashing. And then, don't worry, it's all covered. At least you're in a Rover. Yes, the comforting thoughts of crashing a Rover, because it's not going to matter as much as crashing another car. Aren't you glad you was in a Rover having that crash? The crash in the advert wasn't the slightest bit dramatic or traumatising. No, it was like being offered a nice slice of Battenberg cake, which happens to be your favourite. And you're peckish, so why not? Just like the Audi, this can provide some worry-free motoring for quite a long time. It's just not going to be as economical. But no worries, because if we look in here, we can see there are some cherry drops left behind. And on the back seat, a few spares. That is wheel bearings, brake pads. These brake pads are for Nigel, and so are these discs. Then we have some paint, one for Mrs. Doyle, one for Mabel. In the boot we'll find a set of steel wheels. This set of wheels originally came off Ronnie Corbett, Mabel, Ian Paisley. That's what he used to be called. You know, a really good set of tyres on, so these can be used for something else, not sure just what yet. Now it's really important that I get this car sold. This car called Mabel. So if you're interested, bung me an offer. It's currently up for sale at $12.50, I think it is, something like that, on the Facebook. If you're interested, you can make me an offer. contact me on the email thingy or through Facebook, whatever you like, but it needs to go somewhere nice. And now, back in the Mrs. Doyle machine, and it's delightful. It's not very fast, of course, especially compared to the Audi. It's not going to be very economical, of course, especially compared to the Audi. But what do I do with it? What do I do with this car? Well, I'm going to just say, if you're interested, let me know. If you're interested in buying it, let me know, and we'll thrash out a deal. So my email address, again, is in the description. Or, when I first got this car, my original idea was to swap it for something a bit more classic. Now this is what I would call a retro car at 30 years old. It's certainly rare, but I'd like something really old. I'd like something that's more like 50 years old rather than 30. So that's a possibility. I know it's dangerous territory because when you have cars of that age, they're very, very likely to be not that reliable or falling apart. Anyway, I can report that the car does, as you'd expect, drive like new. It's absolutely solid underneath, and this feels the same it would have done 30 years ago. It's just that it looks out of place. People say you can't keep them all, but I often end up wishing that I could do, because I would prefer this to Mabel. And the Volvo for my own personal use. Aren't cars stupid? Don't cars bring out the daft mind you, okay, right, many ladies like things like shoes or handbags, and many men like cars. Now, obviously many ladies also like cars as well, but there are more men that like cars than what there are ladies that like cars. And you know, some men like shoes and some men like handbags, and I'm not even going to bother saying good luck to you because that's a bit patronising, but the majority of people who like handbags are ladies. So before anybody wants to call me a misogynist, just consider that that is actually a fact. So why do some people like me end up with this thing where you chop and change your cars all the time? You think I really wouldn't need to, because I have more than one car. I have one car that's always permanent, and then a bunch of other things that come and go, even when I really don't think they ever will do. Well, I think it's natural, because no matter how good something is, something that you're not used to is better. It's not the same as chasing the latest thing. That's just annoying, because I'm happy to have just a different car. It doesn't have to be newer, it doesn't have to be better, it just has to be different. It's like food. If you go and eat in a Michelin star restaurant every day, after a while, you'll just crave some cheese on toast or a boiled egg. It's the same kind of thing as that. One more thing, and it is related to this and many other things actually. When I first got the 420 GSI, which was crashed and I fixed, my friend Mike from Wales, Monkey Mouse Mike, well, he offered me double my money on it straight away because he knew it had some potential. And I said no. And he and Boaty were both having a bit of a laugh at that and saying that, you know, you've just had the opportunity to instantly make some money, but you turned it down. But look what happened. I fixed it, and then I traded it in with this and made some money. And then I traded this against another car. And then I traded that, and I made a bit of money out of it. And then that car, I sold that as well. And keeping good relations with people has meant that I've just ended up with things coming back when I want them to do. And that is pleasing. That makes me happy. That makes me feel like I'm doing something right. And at the moment, I definitely do feel like I'm doing something right. So with that, I'm going to tell you to make me an offer on this car if you want, offer a swap, do whatever you like. I am always going to be open for moving things on, just because you have to do. Give me a couple of days with it first though. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for all of the things that you do. It's great. Thought you'd gone by now.